Today's a day that, I've really waited for a long time. I've been speaking about this subject since 2009. I do about 165 appearances a year. And, this is a day that engages everybody because it's something that really means something in terms of like our lives. And we're talking about recycling, but there's also some other elements that are involved in this, environmental programs that are associated with this. So what I want to take you through today is kind of a journey and let you see exactly where we are in terms of the playing field as it stands environmentally. And that's something I'm very close to. I talk about the environment, and I think everybody here needs to be engaged in terms of understanding what the playing field is. So we're very fortunate to have in this industry what we call, and I hate acronyms, so I'll spell it out for you, Materials Recycling Facility. In the business, we call it a MRF. But in Northwest Florida, we have one of the most advanced MRFs in the country. And most of the people here in Northwest Florida do not realize that. Yes, we do process plastics 1 through 7, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell you that's a little misleading. You're going to say, what? Well, I'll explain it to you in just a second. But what's important about this is, yes, we do plastics 1 through 7, but we also do glass. Glass is a product that most recycling facilities do not touch any longer. Recycling is a business. We sell our products on the commodity market. So let me take you through the 7 chart here. You do have the plastics 1 through 7, but I will guarantee you this, a majority of MRFs in the country today do not do the number 6. So when you hear that, when you hear somebody say, oh, we do 1 through 7s, it's not like that. Why not 6? It's polystyrene, Styrofoam. Styrofoam, yes, it is a recyclable product. But in terms of the benefits and the economy, it's just not worth it. It's too expensive to do that processing. But I will tell you this, and this is the key thing to remember today. Recycling is in trouble, and it could be your fault, my fault, the public's fault, simply because of one simple word, and it's called contamination. Very simple definition of contamination, putting the wrong thing into the bin that shouldn't be there. And that's what's happening in America today, is our contamination levels are really superseding what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. I'll walk you through this. One of the biggest problems that we have is medical waste contamination. I do a lot of teaching in dialysis labs, and basically people in home dialysis tend not to understand about the severity of putting the wrong materials into a recycling facility. So it's all about education. It's all about spreading the word and teaching the qualified information that people need to know about. Styrofoam, here's the biggie, folks. A lot of corporations in America today have banned Styrofoam from their workplace. Think about it. Styrofoam is a petroleum-based product. When you put heat onto that product, it emits very dangerous fumes. Think about a coffee cup in your workplace, and you're putting coffee in there, and you're drinking that. You're inhaling fumes is what you're doing, petroleum-based fumes. It will make you sick. It is a respiratory problem. And it's something that you have to seriously contend with and deal with. Styrofoam, yes, you know the numbers, 500 years before it decomposes in a landfill or whatever. But it's that health issue that is specifically really dangerous in terms of understanding the problem and the severity of this. It also takes up 30% of landfills. So it's really a problem on that side as well. Women in particular, breast cancer is a real serious problem with Styrofoam and heat. 4 products to avoid. Very simple. Foam cups, coffee cups. It makes me furious when you see the number one fast food chain restaurant in America today shoveling out Styrofoam cups to their consumers. Mighty dollars, very powerful. Think about Styrofoam plates. There's a reason they tell you not to put the plates in a microwave oven. Yeah, they will melt, but they also emit fumes, and it will make you sick. Also, takeout containers. I was doing an exhibition the other day on a Navy base. And here I am, I'm talking about the evils of Styrofoam. And I look behind me and there's a barbecue truck shoveling out food in Styrofoam containers. And I went, my gosh, this is the biggest oxymoron I've ever had to deal with. I'm telling these people to live right, and I'm looking behind me, and they're getting sick. So just be aware, Styrofoam is a serious problem. Next time you think about waging, you go to that Walmart store and you're looking at paper plates and you're looking at Styrofoam plates. 3 cents more to pay for a paper plate over Styrofoam? Is it worth the health cost? You have to balance that out. These are some of the reasons for polystyrene, of course. It's the health risk, the toxins in foods. We've talked about it, the non-sustainable sources, the workplace dangers. All of these are real. This is not made up. These are absolutely real. And you need to consider that when moving forward. Plastic. Oh my goodness, that's probably one of the hottest topics in the country today about plastic bags, airborne contamination, things like that. It's true, absolutely true. And I will tell you this, the Gulf of Mexico has one of the highest concentrations of plastics of any body of water, our own Gulf of Mexico. Here's the real number. 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Doesn't that startle you? I mean, doesn't that really make a statement saying something's got to change? Well, it does. 9 million tons of plastic waste ends up in the ocean every single year. Estimated 10,000, 100,000 turtles, wildlife, they get entangled in ropes and things like this debris. This is where it gets sad, folks. This is where it gets sad, but this is where it gets real. Take a look at some of these images. Look at the sea otters tangled up here. Look at the bird in the right corner that is suffocating from being in a plastic bag. These are all introduced by human beings, and these animals are suffering for this. Wildlife is a serious harm. When's the last time you had a clogged up drain and you were just yelling and screaming at the water company because my street's flooding because the drains are clogged up? Pretty good indication is there's plastic bags in those drains clogging them up. Also, aesthetic deterioration. This is a nightmare. You've seen it. You've seen sanitation trucks. You've seen things blown on the side of the roads. You've seen this. But it can be prevented by just disposing of plastics properly. Plastics, by the way, are very serious environmental harm, but it's also a very expensive harm as well. 1 trillion plastic bags a year produced every year. But get this, the last time you've gone to a supermarket, how many bags do you think you took out of there? Plastic bags did you take out of that supermarket? On average, a family takes 15 plastic bags out of a supermarket to take home with them. Ladies and gentlemen, those bags are not recyclable. Those bags go into a landfill. And they're going to be there for 1,000 years. Plastic straws. This is a hot topic, folks. Walt Disney World just announced in the next year or so, no more plastic straws on any of their properties. Virgin Cruise Lines, they're going to be going into service in 2020. They are not going to have any plastic bottles or plastic straws. They've committed an environmental direction betterment for the oceans. Plastic straws, number one collection problem on Pensacola Beach. Plastic straws. I did have a unique experience the other day. I went into a well-known restaurant and I was surprised. They had paper straws. I went, wow. Now this is something else. We're seeing some movement here. Plastic, there are solutions, and I will get to this real quick here. Just say no. It's very simple. There are alternatives, such as when you go to a supermarket, take your own bags along with you. You know, your material bags. Don't use their bags. You don't have to use those bags. And here's something I challenge you all to. I know you can't go cold turkey. I can't. But I can tell you this. One day a week, just think about it. One day a week, try to go plastic free. Just one day. That's all we're asking. Just one day. And try to do it. And then you can expand that. Maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days. And try to help it out a whole lot. But this is a campaign that I've been very active in. And it seems to be working. Because it's not asking a whole lot from a lot of people. Kids. Oh, I will tell you. I'll ask them about, what about your cereal in the morning? What do your parents do with the milk? You know, when you eat your cereal, what do they do with that? Oh, they just pour it down the drain. By the way, milk is one of the worst things you can put down your drain. I'll tell you about that in a second. I just got ahead of myself, but I'm going to tell you about it. But the kids will throw their parents under the bus, say, oh, they just throw it down the drain. But kids are the future, and kids will listen to you, and they give me a chance to engage in teaching. And it's very important because they can make decisions. A lot of adults are already gone, but the kids, that's where you got to hit them because they will listen to you. Fats, oils, and grease. Got to get into this. This is really important. Putting things down your drain is a real problem for the utility companies of America. Again, don't believe Jim Roberts. Go ahead and Google it, do your research. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. These are items that we call fats, oils, and grease. These are indigenous to cooking. Just take a look at them. These are all products you all see in the kitchen. Cooking oil, dairy products, baking goods, shortening. This is where I say, what is one of the worst products and things you can put down your drain? And you're going to go, I say, what? Milk. This is where you fall out because you go, what? This is the guilt trip part. It's fat-based. It will coagulate to the inner lining of a sewer like cement. And that is what happens. It constricts the flow of water, and you have what we continually call a sanitary sewer overflow. You never want that to happen. You don't want that to happen, I guarantee you, because where the water started from goes back, like your house, waterways, things like that. It's very unsanitary. These are some of the comments that I pulled for you about the problems of sewer control, flushable wipes, fog. It's all a very serious problem when it gets down to the environment. Cooking oil disposal stations. This community, by the way, is a leader in this. What they do is they collect cooking oil and grease, and they make biodiesel fuel out of it. They recycle it, which is incredible. Where was it going before 2009? In the ground or in the trash. Now we're collecting it and making biodiesel fuel or recycling it. 70% of SSOs are caused by flushable disposable wipes. Folks, these are the bad guys. And I say this with all due respect, but it's called marketing. Take a look at some of these headlines that you see on these products. Breaks up after flushing. They don't break up after flushing. They're made from nylon thread. When I teach environmental science classes, I take 2 blenders. I put in one blender water and toilet paper. Other one, I'll put water and one of those flushable wipes. I'll hit them off at the same time. 20 seconds after I hit it off, the toilet paper and water is disintegrated. 3 days later, the other one's still going. It doesn't break up, and this is what it looks like, folks. Those are flushable wipes in what they call a pump station. They clog up the pumps. When the pump becomes inoperable, that water stops flowing and it goes back to where it came from. These marketers are trying to do a job on you, and it's costing you in plumbing expenses. Cat's pretty smart. I did a survey. Cost you $100 to have a plumber come out. This is an average price. $100. Have the plumber to come out and say, okay, it's going to cost you $100 to clean out that clog. Well, depending on where that clog's located, it's going to cost you $165 to $700 to have it extracted. So it would be just more prudent to not put it down there in the first place. So this is my plumbing segment in terms of saving you plumbing dollars. And pharmaceutical collection. I studied under a lady named Kate Hagman in Boston. She's the head of the National Take-Back Program for pharmaceutical drugs. You know about the opioids, and you know about the legal drugs that are really having a mass influence on our society today. There are programs. In fact, Northwest Florida has a very, very, very great program about how to dispose of safely drugs, pharmaceuticals, legal pharmaceuticals. I encourage you to look into that because one of the leading causes of death today, 40% of deaths in the state of Florida, is caused by legal drug consumption, overdoses. Kids get into their grandparents' medicine cabinets. I had a lady just recently brought 3 full bags, brown bags full of pharmaceuticals. And I asked her, I said, how long have you been collecting these medicines? 40 years. So what we're seeing, it's a badge problem and it's also a health problem. What we're seeing is kids get into the medicine cabinets, take the drugs, and on the streets they go and they sell them. Or, worse so, they take them and they die. So if you can really see fit to not want to hoard your pharmaceuticals, outdated medicines and things like that, take advantage of these programs in your community. They're really valuable because it will save maybe a friend's life and maybe save somebody from getting incarcerated. That's my presentation, and I really appreciate your time today. And just one thing before I go. You have the power to engage yourself into making these things possible and making a cleaner environment. And I hope you'll do it. And thank you for your time today.